It's not a stream if you don't have tech problems, everybody. Hi.
Very true.
Hey,
We've just figured
Mint
we'd get
it.
them out of the way at the
yeah.
very beginning. And now everything's golden from here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you build your scenes from scratch and forget to add your microphone. Anyway, hi everybody. My name is Mara. I'm one of the producers here over at Friends Who Roll Dice. Today we are playing a game of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, all the queer
Yeah.
disaster chaos with pining feelings and just smitten feelings everywhere. We are raising money for the LGBTQ Freedom Fund. They pay bills to secure the safety and liberty of individuals in jail and immigration detention, and also work to address the disproportionately high rate and harm of jailing of LGBTQ individuals. If you would like to learn a little bit more about them, we do have a chat command, !charity, where you can learn a bit more on their website. If you want to help raise money with some of our amazing incentives today, we can do !donate in chat, which will bring you to our Tiltify. And the Tiltify is also on our chat panels page with an easy, quick link there. We're going to quickly go around, say hey, hi, who we are, quick, where you can find us, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ziomara about, like, hey, I'm Mare, they, she pronouns, and today I'm playing Dierna, who uses she, her pronouns, and she is the devoted. Minnie.
Hey, what's up? I am Minnie. I am new here. I go by Stalwart Nurse on Twitter, and I will be playing Elena, the Legion, and her pronouns are she, they.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I am Puja. This is also my first time on Friends Who Roll Dice. My pronouns are she, her, and today I am playing Kavi, this scoundrel with nothing but blades to swashbuckle and hearts to break. I don't know, something like that. Their pronouns are she, they.
And last but not least, our gay master.
I'm Zio. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the game master today. I'll be helping everyone tell the story and telling people when to roll dice. Hey, you know what?
Kitty!
What did we do? We made it, I think, 7 minutes before there was a cat sighting. Anyways, yeah, that's who I am.
Perfect. So if you want to
Yay.
take us into the game and any incentives you want to do, the floor is yours to set us up for
Yay.
these beautiful, beautiful lesbians.
Yes. Um, the thirstier, the swordier, the better. So let's talk first about the incentives. For $3 in donations, you, the lovely audience, will get smooches. Mwah! And for an extra dollar, you can get a queer history fact. Um, I'll have as an elder gay in the community, I have acquired over my way too many years, lots of little tidbits and facts, and everyone here has neat, sometimes obscure, sometimes heartwarming, sometimes angering history about our community that we'll be sharing, and that is for $4. For $5, and this is one of my favorite ones, for $5, at least one of us will admit their
Mhm.
fictional crush. Um, and we have a bit of a caveat there. If one of us has already named that fictional character as a crush, then whoever happens to do the next one has to pick a different fictional character that they have had a crush on. This is one of my absolute favorite incentives. For $10, you can add a +1 or a -1 to the role of a player of your choice. And
Ooh.
for, yes, and for $15, you can add a +1 or a -1 to all players. Um, which brings us to talking a bit about Thirsty Sword Lesbians. This is an amazing game that is put out by Evil Hat Games, and the idea is pretty much just as it says on the tin, right? We are all playing a bunch of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, some thirstier than others, some swordier than others. Um, and this is a role-playing system that celebrates and centers diverse experiences of the queer community, which is one of the reasons why I've been drawn to it and why I think it's a perfect game system for us to play during Pride Month. Um, each of the players has a playbook that they have picked that gives their characters certain moves that they can use to resolve conflicts, to flirt, to figure people out, and um, and you can imagine that a playbook is similar to a class if you've played the other role-playing systems like Dungeons and Dragons, etc. This would be similar to a class. And so when we go around at the appropriate time and everyone introduces their character, then they will tell you what type of playbook they're playing, which tell you a little bit about their character. But this is a very positive, welcoming game system, and I am sure that we are all going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. So, without further ado, allow me to give you an overview of the Rainbow Scarab Circus. Walk through the midway, beyond the fortune teller and games. Go further, past jugglers and fire breathers, past the Ferris wheel, carousel, and mirror maze. Further into the biggest tent, taking one small step, spanning an unreal distance into the land of dreams. This is your home. You and your lesbian circus troupe share glimpses of it with the waking world. People are thirsty, haha, for a change, romance, and adventure. They come to uncover their hidden desires and break the shackles put upon them by others and themselves. But the life of the performer is full of unexpected twists in the waking world and the dreaming. Our story begins in the year 1940, let's say 47. There are two a young couple, two people, Sam and Max, and they are walking along a dirt road in rural America. It's summer, early afternoon. They can hear the birds chirping, bugs buzzing by, um, and they're heading to the circus that's come to town. Um, they talk quietly. Um, just between themselves. The circus is a good bit outside of town. They've been hearing about it for a few weeks now, and they're very, very excited to see the the jugglers, the animals. But one thing that they'd heard about the circus is that it's not like the new Ringling Brothers circus that had been down to town a few years ago. This is a circus that the animals aren't there for gawking at or to perform tricks. The animals, so they've heard here, are every bit a part of the circus, the performance, as the people. They had heard stories from their cousin a few towns over who went to the circus when it showed up last year about performances that they just couldn't believe, about how it seemed like the circus itself changed. As they walked through it, they would see a building, a tent that appeared one way, but a few minutes later, that same tent would look different. Um, as if things were just changing right before their very eyes. It was surreal and magical and wonderful, and they cannot wait to experience it themselves. After walking for a while, they see the front gate kind of off in the distance a little bit, and they pick up their pace. And as they reach the front gate and they buy their tickets, and they cross that threshold from the dirt road that they'd been walking along to get here and into the circus. The air feels different on the other side in a good way. It's smells that they hadn't smelled before, and air that feels fresh in the way that even out in the rural countryside they hadn't quite smelled before. Um, the sounds, even once they've crossed over that threshold, are a little bit different, a little bit quieter. They hear um fewer birds, fewer of the sounds that they're used to of the country, but their ears are filled with the sounds of the circus. From a radio, they hear um, a Frank Sinatra song, uh, him crooning. Um, they hear a calliope off in the distance, children laughing. They hear um, yes, the sounds of the animals that are part of the circus as well. Um, and they smell the smells of fresh baked foods, even some foods that they hadn't quite been able to place before, new smells that they just weren't sure, but it all smells delicious. The place is, in fact, feels very, very magical. And they walk past smaller tents, booths where people are selling trinkets, uh, showing off their wares. There's a fortune teller that winks at them as they walk by, and they both know that they're gonna stop back before they leave, and they are drawn to the biggest tent in the circus. It is it's enormous. They're surprised that they didn't see it way off in the distance. But they get there and they brush past a few other people that are walking by, and they enter into the main circus tent. Inside, there are rows after rows of chairs, sort of in a semicircle around a wooden stage with spotlights aimed directly at the center of the stage. And it's amazing that that scene shows at the theater in town. They've even done some, uh, school theater themselves, but so they're a bit familiar. But the lighting here is they don't know how the people that are putting the show together have been able to get the lights to do that. The changing of the colors that almost seem to be in tune with the murmur of the crowd, and as people over in one corner laugh, the lights seem to react to that. They seem to change. Um, Almost as if it's in reaction to uh, the the audience's feelings and the things that they're talking about. Backstage, we find the troupe. Let us talk about who we have back here waiting to take the stage. Who would like to go first? Well, go right
first.
ahead. Describe. Well, first, what's your character's name? And what do you look like? What do your fellow Rainbow Scarab Circus members see when they look at you?
So my character's name is Elena Rosario Camila Guadalupe Duran Mejia, but she tends to just go by Elena around here. Um, she is a little squat. She's about 5'4", very full figured, the delightfully fat woman, and she loves it. She's got broad shoulders, and her hair right now is kind of pulled back, dusky brown skin. She's just rouging up her lips to get ready for the performance and is picking up her hat. It's kind of like a very wide brimmed cowboy hat as she's kind of adoring it onto her head and making sure everything works. She's currently wearing a sleeveless button down shirt that's open just a little too low. And she's putting on bandoliers and making sure that all her bullets are ready to go. And it leads down to hip holsters that are holding her political skirt on, but it's almost like a duster. So it goes as wide as she wants to do as much flaring ribbiting as she wants, but it's cut very low to the front up to her knees so that she can do a lot of running and kicking and horse riding as she's wearing knee-high brown boots. And she's kind of getting everything ready and flicks a look over to the corner of someone working with swords. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
What playbook is Elena?
Elena is the Legion.
Fantastic. Who else is in the room with us?
Go ahead. You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, I can go. Unlike Elena, I'm playing Dierna, who uses she, her pronouns. And unlike Elena, I am not part of the performance, but I am backstage helping set up. I am helping other performers get ready. Not Elena, Dierna is pretty tall, probably like 6'1", 6'2", with her boots on, which are very sturdy for the work she does. She helps set up, helps break down, move things. Basically, every little bit of thing that someone might need help with, she is there to lend a hand. She's got slightly curly white hair, and just because it is a circus, and even though I don't work here in the performance area, you still gotta look nice in case some people see you walking around, and you gotta have the flourish. So she does look a little nice, but simple t-shirt that is splattered in paint and dirt, as well as some nice jean overalls. Also splattered in paint and dirty and is very well worn. She's pretty buff too. And I am playing the Devoted. And I think at this moment, maybe a good segue into Kavi. I'm trying to help you zip up into your outfit.
Mm-hmm.
If that's okay.
So right next to Dierna, then you see a significantly shorter, at a perfectly average 5'5". You see a brown-skinned woman with fiery red hair with orange bangs, in a very well designed and secured wig, and a costume that involves a lot of intricate zipping and tying and otherwise fastening, because this costume involves, of course, a like fishnet stockings over another pair of more like dyed to match her skin tone, because let's be real, they didn't make things that matched her skin tone at that time. Tights, a white, pink, and red with lots of like bodysuit with lots of little circusy golden flounces and tassels and things. And knee-high red boots is Kavi. She is the juggling sword, flame sword, acrobatics doing performer tonight. I don't know if there's an official name for it other than the won't be able to take your eyes off of this flaming lady tonight kind of a situation. But yes, their name is Kavi, their pronouns are she, they, and the playbook I am playing is The Scoundrel.
Excellent. Um, Dierna, tell us about how you have spent your day getting ready for today's performances. What is your uh, role in the Rainbow Scarab Circus? Um, what is it that they value about what you bring to the circus?
My value lies in the fact that I know a lot about the circus in general. If
Ooh.
I wanted to, I can probably fill in just for about anyone who isn't a performer because my parents started off in the circus. They were
Hmm.
contortionists, and I grew up here. So I've been underfoot literally just about everyone that's been here and has been through here. But my normal average day to day usually persists of need something heavy to for the chefs to cook breakfast for the troupe, go grab that, bring it in. Talk
Mm-hmm.
to the ringmaster who's putting everything together. What are the acts for today? What needs to be moved into the ring for the performers? Do we need to raise the net for the trapeze artists? Do we need more blocks for some of the animal performers? And basically setting all that up before the first performance. And as the performances get closer, I will help anyone who needs a hand. And sometimes, occasionally, because I am big and strong, if there is trouble, I will also double as security, though it is my least favorite thing to do.
When needed, you can, flexible. Maybe you maybe you discourage some shenanigans with, a little bit of bicep showing. Maybe they're intimidated, maybe they're impressed. Either way, everyone kind of calms down a little bit whenever give a good flex.
I
I
have my
like it.
own sword that was given to me
Ooh.
when they thought I might perform. I just, no, I
Ooh.
don't use it, but I have one. I know how to use it.
What does it look like? Have you seen it recently? What does it look like?
It is a deceptively simple looking sword at a distance
Uh-huh.
with silver. Well, it's hard to tell if it's actual silver. It's just painted to look like silver because
Mm-hmm.
circus
Yeah.
deception. But it is in. It is lots of filigree at the hilt.
Ooh, absolutely beautiful. Um, you are the one that has literally set the stage for today. Um, you have, did some rearranging, cleaning up from, not even cleaning up, but rearranging from yesterday, resetting this main circus tent from the day before's performances. So one of the things that is interesting about the Rainbow Scarab Circus troupe is that everyone that works and performs here is from the Land of Dreams.
Mm.
That's where you guys are from. And the Land of Dreams is its name doesn't quite say it all, but it has a very dreamlike quality to it. Things that you think are impossible are possible. You see something out of the corner of your eye, and you go to look at it, and it's not there. Things are shifting and constantly changing. But the thing that you've all grown up knowing is that the thing that drives the Land of Dreams, the thing that makes the Land of Dreams uh, so ethereal is that the feelings and emotions of the people that live here actually make the Land of Dreams what it is. They change, it changes and builds the world around them. So, someone like you saw when the people laughed, the lights changed.
Hmm.
Um, so it's not just the people from the Land of Dreams who affect the world around them here, but anyone here, even the visitors. But those of you who are from the Land of Dreams, who grew up here, um, your feelings and emotions and thoughts literally make the land of dreams what it is. And that is what makes this whole circus what it is. There is a very specific, very limited point in space and time where the land of dreams and um, our world, I suppose, the material world, however you want to phrase it, um, cross over. And this is where people find the Rainbow Scarab Circus. You spend your time traveling through space and time, putting on this circus wherever that the land of dreams and the world may touch. Sometimes it's a different decade, sometimes it's a different place. Um, Sometimes everyone remembers you guys. Sometimes this is the first time anyone here has ever seen or heard of the Rainbow Scarab Circus. But here, today, in this space and in this time, um, you have a bit of a reputation, the circus does, and it's a good reputation um, of magic and mystery and, and fantasy come to life. And so, Dierna, you being the one who drives
I'm a
the
veteran.
setup. Yeah, you've been here for a while. Yeah, you know this circus. Um yeah, you know the ropes. And you in particular have been the one who has set everything up in this tent today. So this tent reflects your emotions and your feelings more so than anyone. Obviously, everyone here contributes to it, but um, you are the one most connected to this building right now. Tell us a little bit about how this building, this main event tent looks, the ways in which it's been influenced by your feelings. Are there particular colors that are more prevalent when it's more connected to you? Um, is the building bigger or more low ceilings? Is it lighter or darker? Are there more seats? How has your emotion um influenced or shaped this building today?
So the building and the ring is has low ceilings over like the audience, not where people would be for performing just because people are going to be in the air doing flips and tricks. But overall, Dierna is usually a fairly calm person, a soothing presence since it's hard to fluster her. But there is draping of fabric over the ceilings above the audience members in what's the word I'm looking for? Pastel, soothing pastel colors, kind of giving a mysterious and soothing vibe. There is fog on the ground over the sand and the straw in the center ring. And the lights are fairly dim, though every once in a while there is a flash of red fabric. Who knows why?
Um, Absolutely, absolutely lovely. Um, you and the other performers are backstage, and you hear people coming in and sitting down and setting up as they're getting ready to watch the show today. Which of our two performers um will be starting out today's show? It looks like Kavi will. Kavi, did you want to start out today's
Sure.
performance?
I mean, I'm
Okay.
happy to go first, or I'm happy to be
Well,
dramatic later. Up to you,
yeah.
Elena.
Either way, you're either starting out
We
with a
saved the best
bang.
for last.
Exactly.
In which case, Kavi will go first. That's totally fine. Uh, yeah. What were you gonna say though, Ziomara?
So it was describe what Dierna has had to set up for you. What does your um when the audience is sitting there before you come out,
Mm-hmm.
what do they see? What does the stage look like before you step out?
So the main thing the audience will see Dierna put out is probably a bunch of small piles of it looks like either it's like sticks in a bowl or some sort of like open lantern. The idea
Hmm.
being that simultaneously with the music changing and the lights shifting to more dramatic lighting from the calming, soothing pastels
Hmm.
is the basically we're going to have the magical version of pyrotechnics. With
Ooh.
the little flames going off at different times in tune to the music, the lights changing colors and flashing.
Hmm.
But other than that, the stage itself is relatively open, with the exception of the flames around, because Kavi's performance is part dance, part juggling, part blade throwing. And so she mostly needs an uninterrupted flat space in which to do her
Hmm.
thing with to the side. I think Dierna is going to have the things that, as the things escalate and as you get to the climax of the performance, she'll stand on something ridiculously small and wobbly and
Hmm.
do tricks from on top of that. But that's not going to be out there on the floor yet.
Wonderful. Do you do your performance just you, or do you have someone that assists you and performs with you?
Uh, right now, Kavi's going to start with just herself because they have the
Okay.
ability to attract a lot of eyes and attention. And so, well, they have a move to do that too. But in a lot of ways, it's like the sandwich method, right? You start with a bang, you get everybody really oohing and eyeing and interested. And so it helps to have just eyes on one place in the floor.
Absolutely. Um,
Ooh, I have
yeah,
something to put in there.
yeah.
Before Kavi gets ready to go out, Elena finally like primed and early ready to go. She's always just ahead of
Hmm.
her. If she's not early, she's late.
She's late.
uh, Already primed, ready, putting on her tiny crop jacket. She pulls a marigold out of her hat and
Ooh.
kind of makes a pose at Kavi and says, "Remember, pointy end goes that way."
Hmm. What's the fun in that? And Kavi will take the marigold and put it in their own hair.
Hmm.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well,
Um,
safety for one.
get a little bit of the thirsty and a little bit of the sword all in one little interaction there.
What we're here
Um,
for.
um, so when you get ready to step out onto the stage, is there music playing
There
or is
very
it
much
the
is.
okay, what type of music is it? Upbeat? What gets the crowd in the right mood to see Kavi
It
perform?
it is something with um a solid beat because the idea is that it gets people hyped up, but also as the performance goes on, it gives people things to clap along to. So it's like
Oh, okay.
it's a pretty simple, steady beat. Um,
Hmm.
Everything I about this performance is uh I wouldn't say engineered, but it's been perfected over time to
Mhm.
really make it the most captivating, build the most hype for the rest of the show. And the idea being that this performance can kind of launch to the rest of the night. And, by the end of the night, we're going to have people on their feet hooting and hollering and like possibly throwing money. That's what we do.
Fingers crossed.
Hey, friends, throw money at a good cause.
Remember,
Links in the Twitch chat.
exclamation point donate.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do either Dierna or Elena say anything to Kavi before Kavi takes the stage?
No, I think Elena definitely did that already by giving them the marigold.
Not that you need it, but break a leg.
Oh, you are the sweetest, aren't you?
I don't say anything.
Kavi winks and goes out.
Be a little blushing.
Absolutely.
I feel like they have blush on their faces, so if they blush, you can't tell. It's a dangerous profession otherwise to be around this many attractive people.
What does walk us through Kavi's performance? You've kind of set it up and let us know kind of what you're aiming to do to get the crowd riled up, and you've literally set the stage. But what I don't know what happened. I got blurry.
Focus, camera, focus.
I know.
The camera got distracted by all
by all the thirstiness and all the swords and everything. Yeah, donate, and maybe that will make I'm kidding.
No, actually donate anyway.
Yeah, donate anyways. Exactly. It is definitely for a good cause. And please, I am dying to give some sort of LGBT trivia, or I would very much love to find out what everyone's fictional crush is. So, yes, please. Now, so you've literally set the stage. Tell us, describe Kavi's performance for us. While I fix
I think Kavi's performance starts out with we start with one sword, and like I picture it being somewhere between a more extremely acrobatic version of baton twirling at like a band baton twirling, where you do like you toss it in the air and then you can do like a one leg like somersault flip thing and then catch it, and then you like throw it behind your back and catch, like things like that. A lot of like playing to the audience, which aka flirting with the audience. A lot of like super dramatic things like getting on your knee before a beautiful dame, holding out the hilt of the blade for her favor, and then going, running back in. But then as like the music gets a little more hyped up, I think Dierna will bring out, this is very choreographed, but Dierna will bring out more swords, and that's when we'll start doing like the juggling thing.
I'll throw them to you as you are juggling,
yes.
as you catch them.
Exactly. And it's definitely one of those things where like, the incredibly talented jugglers, they can juggle and like in between, like do things like move their hands and their legs and their bodies and like all sorts of crazy acrobatic things like back bends while maintaining the juggling stuff. And then of course, as the climax, we're going to start setting these swords on fire.
So during the course of your performance, you are now the center of attention, and the building has now a stronger connection with you. You are the one driving the emotions of everyone in the audience. How does the I need to move my cat. How does the building change in response to you being the primary connection, the primary emotional force here? How does it look different?
So one of the big things that happens is the building starts to look more and more like the inside of a lantern. It's got deep, dark shadows, but the flames from the center are rising higher. The bottom of the stage is starting to sink. The audience are starting to kind of find themselves, instead of being more flat, more angled
Mm.
to look in towards the center. But also, it gives everybody, even on the outside, a perfect view of what's happening on the floor. But also, as the middle of the building extends, it's a longer column for these more and more dramatic
Ooh.
tosses of the sword to on fire, to just be this feat not only of acrobatics but also stunning visuals.
The audience members, um, they don't notice at first that the building is changing, right? Like there's not the grinding of gears
Yeah.
or like the sounds. This is just purely, excuse me, it's purely the building changing. It's very subtle. Um, Perhaps a person here or there looks around and notices that something's different. Um, but for the most part, this is just feels so natural to them that of course the building is taller now. Of course my seat is now much higher and I have a much more direct view. It all feels very natural.
I
As
didn't realize the ceiling was that high until you
eh,
saw the sword go up that many feet.
like, oh,
And
um
you're like, whoa, oh, okay, total sense.
the music that is accompanying your performance comes from everywhere but nowhere. There aren't speakers up on the poles. There, for this performance, aren't musical performers,
Mhm.
a band, although some shows do have that. There's actually an entire tent. On another part of the circus grounds where there's concerts and just purely musical performances. But um, for your performance, the music just is.
Mhm.
It comes from everywhere but nowhere. And oddly, it's the perfect volume for everyone. One person, it may um maybe they're not as big of a fan of loud, exciting music. So the volume for them, it's a little bit quieter, a little bit more soothing, but evokes the same emotions of excitement. Someone else may like the adrenaline rush of music kind of uh, very loud and in their face, and for them, that's exactly the experience that they get. The circus changes not just in reaction to you but to the audience members as well, as as they cheer for you. um the lights will flash a little bit brighter here and there, in a way that lets you know that the audience is incredibly impressed with your performance. Um, how do you um, what is your coup de grace, your the finale of your performance?
Oh, the drum beats get closer and closer together as things get
Mm-hmm.
more and more intense. There's clapping from the audience, and now we're going with we had gone up to like three swords, and now Dierna's already throwing like pre-lit swords. I think at one point we're up to eight, and like it's faster juggling, faster spinning, faster
Mm-hmm.
moves. And then as part of it, people start realizing that they stop being able to see some of the swords, because what Kavi is starting to do now is, as she's juggling, she's also like doing the classic circus move of like licking the flame out
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
of all of these swords one at a time, until all you see then left is the one sword, and it's like a very dramatic flourish. And as everything reaches a crescendo, and then she like stops dead still, puts the sword out, and it's pitch black for a second. And when the lights come up, she's gone.
Ooh. Um, as
Ooh.
you peek out from behind the stage and you
Yeah.
see everybody, just the crowd has gone bananas. They are just cheering and yelling and chanting and clapping. Is there anyone in the audience that you recognize, that you were paying attention to, or were you laser focused on putting on the absolute best performance that you could?
It was a little bit of both. In the beginning,
Okay.
when it was more playing to the crowd, trying to get them hyped up, trying to draw
Mm-hmm.
them into the performance, there was a lot of, like I said, uh, almost like personal interactions with select few people in the crowd. And when Kavi is laser focused on a person, they can tell. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was very like almost like weaponized attention. So the people who got personal attention from them very much had all of it. But then as the show went on, it was much more like this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm here to do, and
Mm-hmm.
focused on that. But that being said, I would say it's not uncommon for people, especially those in the audience that got some of that laser focus, to come
Mm-hmm.
try to seek them backstage or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the version of backstage or stage dooring is at a circus.
Um,
Listen, Kevy's a
Fabulous.
professional, okay?
Get
She knows what
get
she's
tent
doing.
flapping. Get tent flapping.
Yeah.
Pet
That sounds
flapping,
like something
exactly.
completely different and
It
dirtier.
does. It does. Um, right. Um, So the audience is just cheering and cheering. And the MC who everyone sort of takes turns. There is no traditional ringmaster, single leader of the circus. Everyone um sometimes, if they're comfortable, if this is something that they want, can be the MC. It's a shared responsibility that everybody takes turns with, if that's their thing. Um, and so, anyways, tonight's MC um, uh, definitely is out there singing your praises, talking about what an amazing performance that was. Um, and there are a number of other performers that go on, and their shows are performances are equally wonderful. Um, and as the show goes on, um, Dierna, throughout in between different performances, you are the key to this show. You are the one that is making sure, and you're the consummate professional here. You have it in your head. You just know exactly what props need to be brought out. You know where things need to be placed. You actually even know that better than most of the performers, right? Like you're like, They usually ask for the spotlight to be here, but I know them. I've seen them do this performance, and you make the necessary adjustments. Okay, so this is Boo. Boo's a sweet kitty. But he is definitely asking for a bit more attention. Come on, buddy.
So we
Oh,
got smooches for the audience and we hit our $250 goal.
ooh, amazing!
Ooh.
Yay,
So
everyone. Okay.
smooches.
Yay.
Mwah, mwah.
Mwah.
Thank you. Mwah. I'm gonna up
Thank
the
you guys.
donation amount and maybe we can try and hit 350 tonight.
Ooh,
Ooh,
ooh.
man.
Amazing,
There
amazing.
are
So yeah,
thirsty secrets to be shared.
Exactly.
there are. I actually have been spending the since we decided that this was one of the goals that we were gonna do. I've been thinking like, oh gosh, who's gonna be the fictional crush that I share. And then we were talking about when we came up with the rule about it can't be we all have to have we can't repeat. I was like,
Mhm.
oh no, that one's gonna be pretty common. I'm pretty sure
There's a
someone else
lot
is
of
gonna.
hot people out there. I don't
I
think we're gonna
know.
have
That's
any
true.
So
repeats.
I had to think about that.
So many hot people.
So many. So I am excited to share that thirst. Boo's over here wanting to write. Um, so yeah, Dierna, you're the heart and soul of this tent, of this performance. You keep everything moving. You make sure that everyone is ready when the time comes for them to take the spotlight. And often in ways that they don't even realize that that they needed you to support them. You're there. You got this. Uh, and we get towards the end of the evening. And it's time for we've started out the show with the amazing fire juggling sword performance from Kavi, and the performances in between have kept up that audience enthusiasm, and now it is time for Elena to take the stage to bring the circus performance to a close for the evening. Um, Talk to us about what uh nice. Um Talk to us about, this is a chat reference, right? Talk to us about the what does the setup for the stage look like before you take the spotlight?
I think the last performance ends, and I think almost everything, because Kavi kind of set the standard for like the energy that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. Every performance that ends goes into like dead black,
Ooh.
and so
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of resets for the next performer. And so going from the blackness suddenly, not even from the flap where performers are usually coming from, coming over from the right side in the darkness, there's just suddenly little luminarias, just little flecks of light kind of leading in to the center of the stage, kind of making like a golden trail of lights just heading into the center.
Uh-huh.
And Elena is getting grabbing a horse off to the side where she kind of was
Ooh.
just hanging out with Dierna for a second. And before heading onto the horse, she kind of touches Dierna's forearm and just says, "Impeccable work as always." And then slaps the back of the horse and says, "Off, Zorro." And then we go. And as the lights get brighter and more luminaria start lighting throughout the entire ring, the horse is just going into a complete gallop. Her skirt is flopping in the wind behind her. Her hair is flying. She has her hat completely tied under her chin. And she's kind of doing a starting adventuring start. But as the lights have come on slowly on the bottom, there's only a spotlight watching her as she's riding around the ring. And the spotlight is following her around half the ring. And then out of her side, she kind of flicks out a gun and shoots it up into the stands as if she's shooting the spotlight, and everything goes dark again.
The crowd audibly gasps when it goes dark again. Not in a bad way, but in a very excited. So it is dark. Talk to us about how the you're now the center of attention. You are now the primary emotion driving this building. Talk to us about how the building has changed to reflect you and your feelings and your show. Is it brighter? Is the building is there more space for you to run with your horse? How has it changed?
Yeah, in fact, it almost kind of seemed like it was a little closer and more intimate. And then as the Luminaria start getting brighter. They're actually bigger bulbs of light now. They're not just little
Mm.
specks. They're just bigger bulbs on the floor that just get brighter, almost like they're bonfires randomly coming out, turning on in the middle of night. And everyone realizes that their seats are more spaced out. No one's sitting directly behind anyone anymore, and they're further
Ooh.
away from each other. So you could, almost as if a horse could run through the crowd, and someone
Ooh.
could run through the crowd. And there are now rings just dangling, almost hovering midair, with little items in them: a heart, some flowers, a vase, all things like highlighting and just kind of hovering there as she goes through doing different tricks on Zorro and shooting from the hip, shooting over the side, shooting through her dress, everything that she can. And she ends up just throwing guns seemingly out of nowhere as she uses them. Just one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot. And it's just almost like a clown pulling out just an endless pocket of handkerchiefs. It's just one shot guns everywhere.
Hmm. Is there music playing, or is the crowd enthralled simply by the sound of horse hooves and gunfire? How does it sound there? Yay, kitty.
I believe it's actually just a guitar that's strumming and getting
Ooh.
faster, and the back bass is just the hoofbeats and the pistols that she uses.
What does Zorro look like?
Oh, Zorro is such a pretty boy. Zorro is a bit of a hefty boy. He's pretty
Mm-hmm.
big to be doing all the speed that he's doing, but he is sleek brown with just one side of his on his right side. There's just a giant splotch of white that
Ooh.
then speckles into the rest of his leg and mixes with the white and brown.
Um, is he a tall horse as well?
He's a very tall horse. Yeah, it almost looks a little comical with her on
Uh,
him, but that's kind of half the reason that she loves him.
mm. He sounds like such a good boy. Um, Amazing. Um, Talk to us about how your talk to us about how your performance winds down. The exciting conclusion of your performance and the performance or and the evening's show. How does that come to a conclusion?
I think from winding through the audience, she kind of standing on the back of Zorro's rump now as he's just running along. And he starts heading towards the center of the ring where there's just one ring slowly descending. And she's going to grab it and let Zorro continue riding off into the darkness, and is then
Ooh.
hoisted up and then lets herself fall as soon as she gets a little high. And as she's falling, she's going to kind of make a heart motion into her heart and her
Uh-huh.
chest, and is then going to start pulling out a sword, but the hilt is actually a bigger pistol.
Uh-huh.
And right before she hits the floor, she's going to aim the sword pistol down and pull the trigger. And then there's just an explosion of marigold petals. And then suddenly she's standing next to a very cute audience member sharing popcorn with her.
Ooh, ooh.
Love
Um,
it.
yes,
Beautiful.
love that. Yeah. Um, Talk to us about this audience member that you are sharing popcorn with.
I think, oh, I think it's someone that she's kind of been just paying attention to, specifically that side of the ring, that she's be giving a little bit of everyone some love because she goes through the audience in particular. But she kind of just did some numbers in her head and hit this random number. And this woman just happened to be very cute with her dark brown skin and braided hair.
Um, does this woman tell you her name?
Oh, I think
Or is it sort of a mysterious strangers passing in the night kind of
it
a
might be a
situation?
mysterious strangers passing in the night thing, but Elena
Love it.
certainly asks.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. Um, you, um, whether you see her again or not, have a string on
Hmm.
her.
Okay.
And so for the audience, let me just briefly explain what a string is. Strings represent as expected, the connections between players and between players and NPCs, and they wind up. Um, yeah, they represent the emotional influence that either, like I said, players have over other players, or players have over NPCs, or the other way around. They're not uh, they're not good or bad. They just represent the connections that exist between people. In the book, it's explained that you can think of them as like heartstrings.
Mm.
And so you have a string on this call them the mysterious stranger.
Ooh.
Um, as the evening's performances wind down and uh, Elena, maybe you're backstage with the crew. Eventually, I imagine that you do join the rest of the crew backstage, if for no other reason than to clean up. I think my camera has gotten uh grumpy with me again. Um Anyways, with everyone winds up backstage, um whether it's to clean up or talk about the plan for the next day, or to meet up for the traditional drinks and or after show coffee, whichever suits your needs. Um what are some things that you guys are talking about as you are finishing up your day? Is there anything in particular um, that you guys would be talking about?
Uh, Gubby is, of course, talking to whoever's around, and maybe because they are a scoundrel, talking about the attractive folks who were in the
Mm-hmm.
audience, who like offered, roses or whatever favors were customary in that day to bring to talent after the fact. Share details of, oh, so and so invited me for a coffee, kind of a thing. Oh, they invited me for a coffee too. So
Wonderful,
it's a
wonderful.
full on gossip
Mm-hmm.
time in
Love
one
it.
corner at least.
Absolutely love it. Um, as you guys are, the lights, the house lights come down, um, everything is kind of put away for the evening. Everyone's helping Dierna out and making sure that Dierna is not doing all of the work the next day. Um, you guys, exit the tent. There are a few people kind of hanging around. Um, Hopefully just hi, waiting. Um, Whether you guys talk to them or not, eventually all of you are kind of walking near the front entrance of the circus. You're not leaving unless you guys are feeling like walking all the way into town for some additional shenanigans, but um you're just walking across campus, I suppose you would say, across the campgrounds. And you see, um, a bit off in the field next to, because the circus, the campgrounds are out in sort of the a rural part of the town, at the end of this dirt road. And the reason this area's been selected is because there's wide open space, fields here, plenty of room for the circus. But off in the fields, you guys see um, lights, multicolored lights that um, are changing as you hear like the laughter of some children, and feels very familiar to you, the way that the lights interact with the laughter. um but what's very unsettling and concerning to all of you is that this is happening outside the clearly marked boundaries of the Rainbow Scarab Circus.
But
And
not
in all
inside.
of but not inside.
That's good.
I think Elena kind of, as we're all heading towards our area, she's missing the hat, by the way. She hasn't had her hat since the performance. She
I
missed the
imagine
hat
that
in the
there's
performance.
some girl like wearing this
Yep.
hat somewhere.
Aw.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Maybe the
Um,
mysterious stranger on her head before you left.
Possibly. Who knows? No, that's
Um,
exactly that.
yeah, having seen the lights and hearing this, you guys are still within the bounds of the circus. In all of the years that you've done this, you've never seen the magic that happens within the circus ever happen outside of the circus. It's just been the way that you've understood the circus to operate, that you've created the circus creates this special space, um and the magic is contained, it's kept within the bounds of the circus. But here you see this happening outside those bounds. Elena, you said that you saw it. What do you
Yeah,
do?
I think as we're kind of walking, she kind of like slows down her gait a little bit and kind of looks at it and then kind of tilts her head to direct a question, or they tilt their head to direct a question at Dierna. That's that's really fun. I did you extend the sphere? I didn't know that was something you could do.
I don't actually set up the sphere, so unless someone else did it, this is completely new, and I don't know whether I should be concerned or not. But good catch.
Oh,
We
I
should go
mean,
check it out. Gubby just shows up behind you too. You to know that they were there.
Dierna
oh,
actually jumps and like puts like a hand on your shoulder in surprise.
Oh, it's
oh,
just
it's
me.
you. Okay. Well,
Sorry, Kavi,
Let's go look.
you scared me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
you are pretty scary sometimes. Um, those could be screams of joy, right? Surely there are only good things happening over there. Yeah, why not? Check it out.
I'm
And if they're not good things, we should check it out anyway.
we can handle it appropriately.
Oh, I'm sure you'd love to come to somebody's rescue, right, Elena?
I am still wearing my bandolier, so yes.
Let's go.
And as you guys step out of the bounds of the circus, if it's all right, we'll take a break there for a little bit. Give everyone a chance to
Yeah.
stretch.
Awesome.
And we will come back and figure out what is happening with the mysterious lights.
Yeah,
Okay, everybody.
fantastic.
We will be back in, I don't know, somewhere between 5 to 15 minutes. We'll be back soon, everybody. Please stretch, hydrate, pet your pets, and we'll be back soon. Bye. Hello, everybody. We are back from break with some thirsty sword lesbians. I am Mara, and I'm going to hand it back to our gay master, Ziomara. Hello.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. When we last saw our intrepid thirsty sword lesbians, we were outside of the bounds of the circus. Everyone had just stepped over the threshold out into the material world, the waking world. And you had seen off in the distance, not very far, um, some lights that were multicolored and shining. The leaves of the trees at the edge of the clearing were picking up reds and blues from the lights, and you heard the laughter of um, children, um, happy, playful laughter. It's dusk. Not terribly late, not unusual for children to be out. There's nothing um unsettling or anything about that. But the fact that these lights are outside of the bounds of the circus is something that you've never seen before. It's very, very unusual and a concern for all of you. You've never seen magic escape the bounds of the circus grounds. What do you do, thirsties? Okay, that's fair. Children are often, very often,
Children
creepy
are
and
great,
unsettling.
but at the middle of
However,
the night, laughter can be creepy.
To be fair,
absolutely fair.
it's just dusk right now, so they're normal children.
They're
Hope.
not creepy if you don't have any sort of self-protection instincts.
Yeah.
And you all are very thirsty and very armed, all of you. Whether it's guns or guns, you're all armed.
Ah.
But
Heck yeah.
Um,
I
what
think
do you
before
do?
heading over there, Elena, since Kavi was asking if we were just going to go check it out, Elena's going to tag their hand very quickly and then state, well, then I'm going to get over there first, and then starts booking it over that way.
Well, shit. And Kavi starts running too.
Oh no.
Come on, Dierna, let's go.
Not reluctantly, but oh shit, I need to keep these two out of trouble. I also book it after Elena and Covey.
I feel you catch up to Elena
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
quickly.
I got
She has
the long
little-
legs.
Uh, amazing. As you guys get like over to the edge of the clearing, you can see that there may be, I don't know, 3 or 4 children, waking world children. They're not children you recognize, and they're not children that you um identify as from the land of dreams. But they are just standing there and laughing and giggling while multicolored lights are kind of floating around in the air, a bit like lightning bugs. But they're not lightning bugs. They're the same sort of lights, Elena, that were at the beginning of your show. It's the same sort of magic, the same sort of idea. And as the children laugh and giggle and ooh and ah as the lights dance around them, and maybe some zip past their face, and the lights react. And you all very clearly, especially now that you're close, recognize one moment. Sorry, my cat, my gray cat, she likes to sit on the computer, and her little toe beans are perfect to get onto the power button of my computer. And I was just trying to in Thirsty Sword Lesbians, there's a move called Defy Disaster. This is exactly what happened there. I defied
Nice.
disaster. Anyways, you recognize these lights as lights from the land of dreams. This is your magic, and here are these children, and they're playing with land of dreams magic outside of the circus, and that's unusual and
Yeah.
worrisome. You're worried about what this magic could do outside of the very unpredictable but well known confines of the land of dreams. What do you guys do?
I wonder if there's a leak somewhere.
Do you think they could have stolen an artifact?
I know, I know kids are rambunctious, but stealing an artifact and bringing it out here is a little stretching it.
Well, what if it was cute?
Just because you might have stolen an artifact when you were young doesn't mean all children are going to steal an artifact when they're young.
I mean, that's true. I'm not the brains of this operation, so someone smarter than me can figure it out.
I know that I'm relatively new here, but is that how it works? Could we just take something of Kavi's and just take it out here and the bubble gets bigger?
Kavi pulls out her sword. Like, she's still wearing her, like, skin-tight leotard situation with the glow back.
Which I'm
but
sure is
there
very
was...
inappropriate for the 1940s.
Oh, yeah. What? Circus folks, we're our own people.
Yeah.
But she just had... You don't know how, but there was a sword in there, just, like, right down the middle, tucked there. She pulls it out. Did anything expand?
Your magic is outside of the confines. Your magic is dampened. You still have access to it because it's you. It's part of you. You can't be completely separated from it or disconnected from it, but it's dampened. You have to kind of concentrate. You have to really work to marshal all of your magical powers. But um, these children don't appear to be having to do that. You get the feeling that either you have um either these children have found or taken a powerful, not quite artifact, but it's a similar idea. What the kids have is a give me one moment. I want to make sure that I explain um correctly. You you know that there are some items, not necessarily artifacts, but they are um maybe artifacts is the right word that we'll use. You've heard about magical musical instruments that, regardless of whether they're in the land of dreams or within the bounds of the circus or whether they're outside, that the music still can bring about all of the magic of the land of dreams, of the dreaming. You've heard about the one that probably, and especially you, Dierna, you probably know this better than any of the others, having been not just I mean, you've all grown up within the dreaming, but you've been part of the circus your whole life. You've heard about, but never seen for yourself, a wish book. One of the
I was gonna say, can I go up to the children, or just like carefully go up to the children?
Yeah.
Not as non-threateningly as possible.
Uh-huh.
I actually don't have my sword with me because I didn't see a need for it, but It's fine. I can steal one of Elena's knives in her bandolier if I need to.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
hey,
hey,
kids, what are you doing out here? Where are your parents?
look at the lights. Aren't they so pretty?
Yeah, they're very pretty. Where did they come from? Do you know?
Yeah. Um, what is her name? Um, in town, Mesmeralda. You know her. She's the lady. She's a little bit scary, but yeah, she told us all about it, and she let us
Mhm.
read from this book, and then we came out here because we wanted to see. I really like tigers, and so I wanted to see the tigers. And so me and my friends came out here, and then we saw the tigers. They were really cool. And
Tigers,
um
that sounds scary.
oh no, they're really sweet. They're super super cool. I got to pet one. It's thing. But then we were over here and I remembered the words that the story that Mesmeralda told me, and whoa, look at this. It happened. And so we've just been watching the lights for a little bit, but I'm gonna have to go home soon before my parents get worried about me. Plus, I
Oh.
have to see my little brother.
Do you want me to bring that book back to Mesmeralda for you so you don't have to carry it the whole way?
Oh, she already has it.
Oh, she already has it. Okay. Well, you travel safe, okay?
Okay, bye. And the kids run off. Some of them hand in hand, back off down the street, the dirt road, back towards town. You do not know the name Mesmeralda.
Do you two know
Mm.
Mesmeralda?
Do I know a Mesmeralda?
No, none of you know a
Nope.
Mesmeralda. She's not part of the circus troupe. And Dierna, especially you would know pretty much everybody
Hmm.
in the circus. And especially a really cool name like Mesmeralda, you would have remembered. And so no, you pretty much deduce that this is not someone um from the circus. This
Oh,
is a townsperson.
Are the lights still there, or when the kids ran off, did they kind of
They
go off?
the lights kind of followed them and then eventually kind of faded out. As the kids were, yeah, not, yeah, they were focusing on other things, running home. And so yeah, the lights definitely followed them and then, flickered out just as, like embers that sort of just like fade,
Hmm.
kind of like that.
hmm.
I'm wondering if she's from the Land of Dreams originally because that was Land of Dreams magic.
Yeah, it looked very familiar.
I'm also a little not concerned, maybe perplexed is the right word, for the fact that she's just letting children read from a book
And
to do this.
playing with tigers, like, yeah, it's fine over where we're from, but anyone else over here who would just see kids playing with tigers would get their knickers in a bunch.
Yeah. We should at least go talk to her.
I
She
agree.
sounds cool.
It is a very interesting name.
Ooh, I have a question, actually. So when we leave the boundary of the bubble for
Uh-huh.
our magical area, do we feel any different? Like, I know we inherently have our magic, but do we
Yeah.
feel any different?
No, you guys, this is not uncommon. You guys often will go into town, right, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
have drinks in the various towns or get supplies, whatever.
Advertise.
Advertise exactly.
Yeah.
And so this doesn't feel any different. You don't feel more disconnected from
Okay.
your magic. It is, as always, a bit dampened when you're outside of the land of dreams or the circus. Um, but you still, like I said, very much have access to your magic. But that part is, but for these children and the lights, you would have not known at all that anything was different.
Hmm.
Okay.
With someone with that type of name, I'm sure it'll be really easy to find her in town.
Yeah.
Just follow the glowing lights.
Well, they're going home, so
Mhm.
Just ask around.
yeah.
Kavi will put the sword back.
Do you guys head on in towards town?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. It's not a long walk, and it was just getting to be dusk whenever you guys were stepped out of the circus. So, I don't know, it's maybe 15-20 minute walk into town. You guys are able to quickly get there. It is a fairly typical small town 1940s, almost 1950s. It has literally a town square, with like, the courthouse and a church over here and, the, hardware store on the corner. Um, as in most towns, it's kind of quiet this late at night. It's 1947. Um, it's not in a 24-hour society like we kind of have now. Most of the people have um uh gone to the circus to see you guys or kind of closed up their shops for the evening. But there is in town a diner, a local diner, um, and it's one of the few places that are open. And so you guys decide that this is probably your best bet at finding the mysterious Mesmerelda. So you open the door, and you go to the diner, and it's very much um the malt shop kind of diner, kind of a Norman Rockwell kind of a thing. Um uh and the building is, a person or two at the stools, the counter. And there is a woman that you recognize as being from the Land of Dreams, and she is sitting in one of the tables kind of towards the back of the restaurant. Um, just casually, slowly eating some sort of a dessert. Maybe it's homemade cherry pie, something like that.
Mm.
And she's sitting there, and she looks up as you guys enter uh, the restaurant. What do you guys do?
So has this, whispering to like Dierna, has this ever happened before?
Well, the Land of Dreams isn't completely closed off from other places. They're not, people don't have to stay there. But
Okay.
it's not something I've seen recently.
Yeah. The fact that this woman from the dreaming is there is not that unusual, right? You
Mm-hmm.
guys have done similar things on nights off, gone into town, um uh yeah, who would resist some fresh baked desserts,
I would
right?
not, not me.
Yeah,
Her
exactly.
that pie looks
Um
really good though.
doesn't it? Do you guys want to sit down at the counter? Do you want to sit down with her? She's you're not super friendly with her, but you recognize her as someone part of the dreaming. Um yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Elena will walk up and sit at a space next to her.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. Kavi follows,
mm-hmm.
but will
Um
specifically want to take a space across.
okay.
And like, I don't want to
Um,
trap her in, so I'm just gonna like pull up like one table next like over,
uh-huh.
like and sit there. But like obviously with these two,
I imagine it's just like a triangle formation. It's just
Yeah. I don't think Covey's ever been
right.
at a table, thought about like not being welcome at a table. They just go and they're like, "Hi, I'm here now. You're welcome."
I'm your problem or your solution.
Exactly. Um, yeah. You sit down. Oh, oh, hello. And almost like in an instant, the her appearance shifts. The reason you recognized her was that there was something familiar about her. You'd recognized her, but you couldn't quite place her. But as she sits down, she recognizes you as other people from the circus, other people from the dreaming. She sort of lets down the veneer, the illusion, and you recognize her as definitely someone from the circus. She is a very formidable woman. She is tall. She's got these copper eyes,
Ooh,
and she's got scars across her face. Even in the kind of somewhat cramped space around this booth, she's got these blood red wings that out
ooh,
behind her.
okay.
Um,
Hmm.
from around her temple, horns appear and just sort of curl around, and she, you can see sort of behind her, peeking out from behind the one of her wings. Um, she's got like this scorpion tail. On her arms and across like the bit of her chest that you can see, even creeping like up her neck, you can see that she's got these uh, tattoos, and they are illustrations, and they shift and change as she's talking to you. Um, and if she was telling you what her day was like, right? These tattoos would shift and change and show the story of her day. Um,
What?
and
Oh,
so
I
as
love
she's
it.
telling stories um uh and talking to you, like her illustrated tattoos blend with the story that she's telling, and help tell her story. You know that she is the illustrated manticore. She's a scorpion-tailed liger woman, and she had put up sort of an illusion so as to not alarm the others, but she's dropped it for you guys. Um, and yeah, she's you know her to be very, yeah, although she looks intimidating with the scars and the wings and the scorpion tail. She is kind. She can be a bit mercurial, but that goes along with being a performer, a master storyteller. Um, it's just part and parcel to who she is. Um, but she's very happy. Excuse me, she's very happy to see you guys. Um, and welcomes you to sit down and join her for some coffee and some cherry pie. Or,
You
pumpkin pie, carrot cake, whatever suits your fancy.
you said she's part of the circus?
Hmm.
Okay. What was her name again?
Yeah, you recognize her as definitely someone from the dreaming,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and someone who has traveled um with the circus on occasion. Although she doesn't perform in the same tent or do the same types of performances that Kavi and Elena do. Her as a storyteller, her performances are more small groups, more intimate settings, right? Um, where she can uh, draw in her reader or her listeners a
Mhm.
bit better. Her style doesn't quite fit a large, flashy, big audience the same way that Kavi and Elena's performances do. Um, but you definitely know her.
What was her name?
The Illustrated Manticore.
Oh, well, that's the name, not the.
That is her
Oh,
name.
Oh.
well, hello. It's good to see you again.
It's always good to see you, Kavi. And as she says that, her tattoos shift. The colors become like um, reds and pinks
Ooh.
as she smiles at you.
What brings you out here?
Well, coffee, of course. And have you tried this delicious cherry pie? Look, I know the cooks in the circus do wonderful work, but sometimes you just need some waking world food. You know?
Oh yeah, I've still not fully gotten used to the the dream world cooking. It's great, but just there's nothing like this.
Mm,
And she kind of like gestures at the cherry pie. May I try a piece before I order my own?
absolutely. She will scoot her plate towards you a little bit, and she'll like flip her fork over so like the handle of the fork is towards you.
Thank you. She kind of makes a show of getting a dainty bit and
Mhm.
licking her lips and tasting it.
Mhm. She
Kavi
smiles.
watches, fascinated.
Yeah.
Yes, good,
Uh,
excellent.
the manicures, her tattoos again shift with like reds and pinks as she smiles at you a bit. What are you delightful things doing here this evening?
We were
Well,
looking for someone by the name of Mesmeralda.
isn't that just the most fascinating name? I mean,
Mm,
not quite as fascinating as the illustrated manticore, but still
well,
pretty,
I mean,
That has flair.
pretty choice. Yeah.
well, I mean, Esmeralda.
Mhm.
Have you ever met Esmeralda Silvana? Have you met her?
No, but we're
No.
hoping to.
Ooh, she is quite literally enchanting, but do not trust her at all. Ugh, I mean, why do you want to see someone like her?
Well, she's letting real world children play with tigers.
I
So,
mean,
And the dreaming.
and
oh, now
yeah,
that has me concerned.
yeah.
Yeah, she's giving them keywords so that they can conjure up things on their own. It's not, it's giving a child a hot pistol, you understand?
Oh, isn't
Speaking
there?
of a hot
Isn't it
pistol,
frown? Oh, God.
oh no, oh, I was just, And she'll wink at Elena. You were saying, dear?
I was just saying, isn't it frowned upon generally to leak the dreaming too far out of
Safe zones.
our own people's
Yeah.
control?
And we'd never give it to someone from the waking world.
Let
I
alone
knew
children.
It's gonna cause a lot of
exactly.
problems.
Mhm.
I knew. I knew she was it's like a bad penny turning up.
Well, do you know where we can find her?
No, but I know how you can have her find you, which is almost as good, isn't it?
Mm.
Sure.
I guess, yeah.
You lack the, surprise, but sure.
You get the home field advantage, though.
Also true.
Are you wanting her to come back to the circus, or are you wanting to find her here?
What do you mean back to the circus?
Is she
Well, I mean,
one of ours?
well, what do you know about her? I don't think that you know very much about her. She's always, always trying to, she's trying to destroy the circus. She's trying to
This is news to
control
me.
people.
Say what now?
She's been a while since she's been around. I was not quite expecting her to show up, but she she wants to control the dreaming. She wants to make it
Control the
in
dreaming. That's preposterous.
I I would have thought so too, but this is how she plans to do it. She her name Mesmerelda. She's enchanting. She is able to hypnotize and control people, and it's been her goal for years now to mind control people. People from the dreaming. Okay, boo. People from the dreaming to help her conquer the dreaming so she can change it to suit her ideals, her goals. But not just the part of the dreaming. You know how we can all have some control over it. But she wants to control all of it to her whim. She wants to control us all. I surely thought that she had, well, been defeated enough to have discouraged her from trying to do that enough. I mean, after I don't know, 10, 15 times of having her plots foiled, you would have thought she would have, I don't know, given up by now, but apparently not.
So if we choose to have her come to us, given that distasteful amount of information, I don't think it should be to the circus.
No, no, no,
No.
no, 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 no,
I
no.
I think that that's wise for her to not come to the circus. Absolutely.
We
Um,
could have her come here.
Yeah, but if something goes wrong, we have all these civilians
And the pie.
and the pie.
Yes, I would prefer if we didn't get swords and the pastries here. That would, I mean, a waste of good pastry. Ugh.
I guess. What kind of grounds are there? Like, are we in foresty lands, hills?
Yeah, this is, I mean, you're in town right now, but yeah, this is fairly it's kind of Midwestern sort of flatlands, farmlands, forest on the outskirts of town, that kind of a
Question.
situation. Yeah.
Could I use one of my playbook moves?
I
Mm.
would love it if you use one of your playbook moves. But that brings me to a question.
Yes.
Has a donation happened that would give someone a +1 or -1 to a player? Oh, now would be a wonderful time if that happened. If someone were to donate that. But yes, tell me about what move you would like to use.
So this actually, if I'm reading it correctly, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have me do any rolls. In fact,
Ooh,
it is a move
lovely.
called "Just Like You Wanted,"
Okay.
and it reads as such: With infinite reincarnations comes infinite chances to acquire resources to your name.
Mm-hmm.
Once per session, you may declare that you and your allies have access to exactly what you need in terms of an opportunity, information, ally, or place. Tell us
Fabulous.
which past life gives you this information. As a trade off, the GM will give you a messy complication that comes with using this power.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Spicy.
juicy.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I like this. So, while I am racking my brain for a messy complication, tell me first about, well, I'll let you tell me, you can tell me whether you want to tell me what it is that you want first, or whether you want to tell me about the past life that has given you this knowledge or opportunity.
I think I'll go with the past life.
Okay.
I think how it comes across, and then this could probably even lead into your messy complication.
Mm-hmm.
As Elaine is kind of discussing with everyone about this situation, she's kind of tapping her fingers and has put the fork down to clink on the plate of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly her finger tapping gets slower and slower. And in her head, she's just hearing water drops and more drops
Ooh.
and more drops. And then she just starts hearing a cacophony of voices in her head. And she can't hear anyone else around her. All she's hearing is these different types of voices speaking to her in different dialects and languages.
Ooh.
And finally, one kind of like shouts out through the din. And it's a darker skinned man, darker than her, taller. And he looks like he's wearing raccoon furs. And he starts talking to her and telling her about a trail that's nearby, a hunting trail, a deer trail that leads a bit away to a cave that's not too far from town, but it's a little bit of ways to where it couldn't be too dangerous if things happened. And she realizes that this, after he starts then getting off track and starts talking about family and how is this person and how is this person, that this is her great 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 uncle.
Mm.
And as she's having this conversation, everyone else at the table is just kind of seeing her stock still, and her eyes are just bright orange glowing and her lips are moving, but you can't hear her saying anything.
Seeing this.
Kavi,
Oh,
yeah, Kavi and Dierna have perhaps seen this happen before. Um, the illustrated Manticore has never seen this happen before, and she is enthralled at just wow. Especially the glowing eyes, 'cause she's got these copper eyes, and the fact that your eyes are glowing, she's just like, and she turns to the two of you and she's like, something is happening.
yes. And I'll like put a gentle hand on Elena's like knee, like like just kind of like as a reminder, hey, we're still here. You doing okay? Like kind of like a grounding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
magical, truly.
I would like for you, and again, remember that this is not they're not negative things. Dierna, I you have a string on Elena from this support, this connection. You taking a moment to help support her. I'll give you a string on her.
Will do. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, mark that down. Um, okay. The messy complication that comes with it, um, there's kind of two parts to it. One is now, for the first time, in this session, we have a player who has a string, on another player. And then the complication is that, um, I can tell you as players, yes, this cave um exists and is nearby as in your vision.
Mhm.
But that drop, drop, drop that you heard when your vision, we'll call it that, started, is actually that outside it is. raining.
Mm.
Okay.
Not like cold, miserable rain, but that sort of like warm, I mean, it's still rain, and it's still a lot of rain,
Mhm.
but that sort of warm summer storm rain.
Mhm.
Um, and that is the complication. You are all as fabulous as you are looking now. Um, if you are going to wander off to this cave, you are going to be drenched.
Mm.
And perhaps we'll have a sword fight in the
Rain.
rain.
Oh, tragedy, trauma.
Oh no. Oh no. Whatever will we do?
Oh,
In
yes.
the rain.
Attractive
Um,
people drenched in rain. That's not out of
oh
any book or movie at
no.
all.
Exactly.
Um,
Um,
I think
yes.
Elena feeling Dierna's like hand on her knee, kind of like kind of jostles her out of it, and suddenly her lips are moving, but you guys actually hear something now, and she just says, "No, I don't know who married him."
Who is it
Thank
this
you.
time?
Oh.
Alberto, uncle,
Mm.
uh,
Everyone's got one of those
something.
uncles.
Yeah. And then she starts trying to ground herself because it's always not the funnest thing to happen. It kind of just makes itself appear. But she
Mhm.
then starts telling everyone about this possibility of a place to meet Mesmeralda.
Ooh,
What
sounds good to me.
what would draw her out there though?
Well, okay. Would you like a little tea? I can spill some tea if you would
Ooh,
like.
always.
Ooh.
It would be
All right.
appreciated.
Years ago, when I was younger, well, Mesmeralda and I, there's a history there. And as she
Oh.
tells you this story of almost like a quite not quite storybook, two young women from the land of dreams, um, not quite knowing what they wanted, not quite knowing what they were ready for. She the illustrated manticore and Mesmeralda became absolutely infatuated with one another and um did their best to try and make that work. For as young and um I don't know, inexperienced in matters of the heart as they were. Um and and as she's telling you this story, you can see the tattoos shift, and every once in a while you'll see like the colors change from like the reds and pinks whenever she's kind of flirting to more like blues and purples, um and you can see flashes in the tattoos that are all over her arms of like um two young women on a swing set holding hands as they swing, um, sneaking off behind, the school building to share like a chaste, like schoolgirl smooch. Um, Almost to the point where you're not quite sure if these are things that are really happened or things that she has built it up in her head to be in this sort of like misty happy memory, um and before she starts to get too sad or to the point where she talks about how they were no longer this sweet little couple, she um um and sits up straight. Her wings sort of like get tucked in a little bit, and her tattoos settle. She's like, well, it wound up not working, but I'll tell you that if you want to meet her, she would come out of hiding, for no other reason than to torture me, make my life miserable. It's one of the things that she's done for as long as I can remember now. Anyways, if you tell her that you're, or let the word out that I'll be there, I'm sure that she would meet you.
Hmm.
Or, more to the point, I'm sure that she would show up.
A
Okay.
lure of bait.
Oh, I do not intend to see her at all. Um, but you're more than welcome to tell her that I will be there if it will,
Mm.
I don't know, get her where you need her to be.
Okay.
I don't
So
want
now
there
we
to
just
be.
need to find the right people to spread the word to her.
It's a small
Um,
town. You tell one person, it's gonna spread like
Yeah.
wildfire.
Start a
word
whisper campaign.
travels.
Let's go.
Word does travel fast.
We could just tell one of the servers here and it'll be done like that.
I I think that that's probably right. Um, anyways, and she's finished up her pie and she drinks the last of her coffee. She's like, well, I need to be back. I've had a long day, and I do wish all of you the best. If you need me, well, I suppose I can, I don't know, offer you my best wishes. Uh, and she gets up and winks at you, blows you a kiss as she heads on out the door and into the rain. You think that you might hear a of wings, but maybe that's just the wind.
Well, maybe get some pie to go, spread a little word,
Yeah.
and then, Elena, if you want to lead us.
Yeah, I unfortunately have a map in my head, so that, yeah, I could do that.
The server, as she sees uh the illustrated manticore leave, she comes over and is like, and can I get you lovelies anything?
Pie.
Yeah.
To go, please.
Excellent. She goes and she comes back a minute or two later, hands you the pie. And what are you up to this evening?
Well, we are going to go meet the illustrated manticore for a special performance. Um, and then Kavi will look at Elena to take over as to like the description of where.
Yeah, she starts talking about this enchanting natural stage that happens near the forest and then
Mhm.
starts kind of making it sound way more glamorous than it actually is.
Of course.
But
I know.
you remember, you
Over
can't tell
there.
anyone. It's a secret.
It's very
S- A
special.
secret performance.
Hmm.
Oh, oh, well, I hope you guys have so much fun. I must be going, other tables. And you see
Bye.
her like rush off back into the kitchen, and you can practically hear like the rotary dial on the phone going
Oh
as
my
the
God.
yes, as the door to the kitchen swings shut. Yeah, you can practically hear that dialing. Um,
That's a record.
uh, you are very confident that you have accomplished your goal of getting the word out.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes.
So should we go set up?
Meet our special guest.
Of course, you can't leave a lady waiting.
Never. Well, depends on the lady.
You
But yeah.
shouldn't leave a lady waiting. And
Sometimes
then,
absence makes the heart go fonder.
okay. Come on,
Um,
Tiger. Let's go.
It
Ooh,
doesn't take you guys
oh.
very long. You can you find your the cave exactly as your uncle Alberto
Hmm.
described it to you. And you have all of the time in the world to get yourselves set up um before you hear um before you hear um the rain has stopped.
Hmm?
You guys are still kind of a bit drenched.
Mm.
Um uh but you hear the of boots on in the mud. Um and before Mesmeralda makes her appearance, talk to me about what this cave and stage look like. How have you still have access to your powers. How have you used your powers to change the way the cave looks?
Kavi is attending to lighting because that's their thing. So we've
Mm-hmm.
got deep, dramatic lighting that casts everybody in the best angles and shadows,
Hmm.
really just snatching some jaw lines of light.
Perfect. That actually does lead to my question that I was going to ask everyone was what was our what's our plan here for this? Are we just going to bring her out here for a discussion
Mm-hmm.
and in hopes that that's all it is, or are we planning fallback plans as well?
Well, I think if we find out that she indeed is trying to take the dreaming down,
Or the
we might need a
circus.
fallback.
I don't know if I'd be able to allow her to get away if her true goals are to destroy the circus.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
all of our livelihood, uh I think we can obviously
It's a
start with
home.
yeah, start with a conversation and hope it
Yeah.
doesn't escalate. But hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So
Yeah.
I will be armed.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Um, and for a split second, I just back up from the two of you and like hold out my hand, and then just like in a brief little poof of light is my sword because I left it back at the circus. If it does go south, it might not be a bad idea to have this.
Of course.
I'll just
Perfect.
sheath it at my hip.
Mhm.
So then Elena, with her preparations, she would do everything in her power to make sure that we have a clear way to block Mesmeralda from physically leaving the area,
Mhm.
and to kind of support Dierna because she's kind of looking to Dierna for this because while she is part of the circus and she does find it to be home now, she's new-ish to being with the circus.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely wants to support what Dierna's doing here.
I do agree with Covey. Talk first, because I don't want to hurt her if we
Mhm.
don't have to, but also if she's gonna destroy my home, eh, that's gonna cause problems. There is a reason why we have the animal cages for show when we're putting on shows over here. They are effective.
Mhm.
Sure.
We can always bring her back to someone home, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to kill unnecessarily.
Sure. Oh, I could. Well, I don't know if we would have time. I could see about sending a message to Zorro. I mean, I'm sure he's home with his wife and kids, but I could possibly use his prop cage.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It's
love.
not like any of the animals are actually using them. They're
No,
just
it's
They just
yeah,
help make the audience feel more comfortable.
yeah, exactly.
yeah. I mean, he hates it when we have to pretend anyway. So yeah, I can ask him. I'm sure if it breaks, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then I guess when she's done kind of doing her prep, uh, Elena's going to like telepathically send a text message to Zorro and just be like, "Hey, how's the wife and kids? Also, can I borrow your prop cage?"
I was not expecting to have to come up with a voice for a
Best thing
sentient
ever.
horse named Zorro. Um Although this is one of the most delightful problems that I've had to deal with all day, so wonderful. Um we're just gonna all use our imaginations for what Zorro's voice
Mm-hmm,
sounds like, but
mm-hmm.
I imagine it sounds a little bit deep. Um 'Cause I imagine even though he's a fancy horse, he could be somewhat of a serious fellow. Um, and he is happy to not just let you borrow the cage, he would be happy to give you the cage. But it's gonna take him a little bit of time to get here. He's fast, but he's gonna carry like he can bring like he can draw maybe a cart. He can have someone loaded onto a cart and get here. It's just gonna take him a little bit. Um, and so you get the feeling like if you can subdue her, hold her, keep her talking, incapacitate her, something, that he won't be too far behind. But he will not be here. You do definitely do not think that he'll be here before um Mesmerelda gets here. Especially since you have heard Mesmerelda's footsteps outside the cave.
Mm. Well, she
Well,
relays that information
ooh,
very
okay.
quickly
Showtime.
while we then prepare our stances.
Oh, Kavi's gonna pull over, I don't know, a big rock or something and put the pies on top, like a little snack station.
We definitely maybe like a little thermos of like tea and coffee
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we're having a little chitty chat. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, and part of my prep was like rolling some big rocks or like stumps or logs into the
Yeah.
cave to like, you know, place to sit.
Yeah, have some tea, chat a
Yeah.
litw. Very
So,
civil.
taking over the dreaming. Tell me about that.
You hear a voice taking over the dreaming. I've been trying that for forever. What do we have here? And you see standing at the mouth of the cave, and you guys have been like just chit-chatting every once in a while, laughing. Um, she's clearly been here for not long, but a moment or two. Um, and you see this woman who is she is in enchanting. She's um tall. She's got
Is
um
it an oh no, she's
this
hot situation?
it is so much so that I can't even describe her to you guys. Um, uh, she's got these lovely piercing um blue eyes. Um, she is fair-skinned. She's got this longer, not very long, but longer um uh, black hair that's in these tight curls that kind of cascade. She is down her shoulders. Um, the dress that she's wearing is this blue that matches her eyes, and it is um almost appears to be made of stars. It's got these uh it's blue with like the nights like the really dark blue of like a night sky with these stars that up at the top are very spaced out here and there, and as you get towards the bottom of the ruffles of the dress. It's more and more closely bunched where it becomes almost like this um shiny silvery sparkly white. And she's wearing these um knee-high white um, boots that match the stars in her dress. And somehow she has managed to not be covered in mud despite wearing white boots in the middle of a rainstorm. Um, and
That seems
when
unfair.
I'm jealous.
when she speaks, you fully understand her name. You become almost like you become disaster lesbians. You
Become.
are I'm more so than you already are.
Heightened.
Yes, exactly. Um I, for a moment, Kavi, you forget your name. Um, Dierna, you almost drop your cup of tea, um, because you're just so enthralled with what she's saying, and she's only pretty much just said hi. Um, Elena, you are entirely and completely useless at the moment. You are flustered in a way that so you remember earlier in the evening there was the woman, the mysterious ship passing in the night. You know, she was a disaster and completely just a disaster over you. Yeah, now the oh how the turns have tabled and you are now very much like that. And you all quickly pull yourselves together, but you, yeah, her name's Mesmerelda, and she has pretty easily turned all of you into disaster lesbians. What do
I'd
you
like
do?
to walk up to her and hold out my arm to her to escort her to the table, of course. The table,
Oh.
quote unquote.
Well, aren't you just the sweetest thing? And she loops her arm like through your elbow and allows you to escort her over to the table. And we have some pie. Is that from the diner in town? And is that tea or is that coffee? Either way, I'll have some. Thank you, darlings.
Only the best
Mm.
for you.
Oh, um, you see a bit of blush there. Um, would you like to make that a flirt move?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, I am excited
Go,
about
Kavi, now it's your
this.
time.
Do it!
Yeah,
It's
all
happening.
right.
What do I have to do if
Um,
You
I'm flirting?
scoundrel, you.
yeah, okay. So we are all going to um uh learn this a bit. This is a heartstring move.
Mm.
Um, and so are you trying to there's two heartstring moves here. Do you want to entice or do you want to try to figure out a person? Do you want to figure her
Uh,
out? Do you want to entice her? It sounds like maybe entice is what it is that you're gonna want to do.
oh yes, at the beginning for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Um, okay. Um, I need you to roll a heart. So,
Roll Time
yeah.
heartless. No, no, I'm kidding.
Oh, you
That's an 8.
in in 8. You um can make a choice. You can either gain a string on Mesmeralda Or you can choose one of these. You can get flustered and awkward. You
Hmm.
can promise them something that you think that they want, or you can uh give in to desire.
I think I will take a string on them.
Okay. Okay. So later you can use that string in order to influence her.
Hmm.
Just if you have the physical book, or I think even the PDF will be the same. Um Page 36 is going to tell you how to use influencing with a
Ooh.
string.
Yeah.
Um yes, she is yeah, she gets a little, some flushing of the cheeks and smiles and looks down at her. We'll say that she's chosen to have some tea and she looks down at that. Um giggles a little bit. Um Now, you were saying something about the dreaming. I mean, who doesn't want to control the dreaming? I mean, I certainly do. Such power.
To what
Think of
end, though?
think of all of think of all of the things that I could do. Think of just how wonderful the world would be if I were able to make anything that I wanted to have happen. How wonderful would it be if I, for lack of a better phrasing, had everyone under my thumb? Wouldn't the dreaming be just so much better?
Isn't the part of the magic of dreaming the choice to dream what you want?
Well, mean, isn't it? I mean, I suppose some people might like having freedom, but I don't know. Want to control the dreaming and I want everyone under my thumb. I think that that sounds just so much better. And I'm been working on that for forever.
How do the
And
children fit in?
oh, the children. Is that why you're here?
Hmm.
Well,
We were a little
it,
concerned about, children playing with tigers and miscellaneous light sprites and such.
well, I mean, I only told them about the tigers, and they weren't real tigers anyways, but they weren't even supposed to overhear me reading from the book to begin with. I I worked very, very hard to get that wish book, and those children weren't supposed to be listening.
Well,
I,
that's the danger of doing things outside the circus.
And in public,
well,
round
Hmm.
very nosy little ears.
It's
Hmm.
almost like the circus, in a way, is protecting us.
And that you should perhaps not read magical incantations out loud.
This
it's
sounds like a
more,
large oversight to you, for you.
I mean, what does it matter?
If
None of this will matter once I control the dreaming. None of it matters. I
well,
don't know why
if
you're
you're
all
not
worked
smart
up.
enough to
Why
know
is it
not to
always the
read,
hot ones
like
that have a tyrannical obsession with taking over the
I
world?
know.
Oh,
Also, if you were smart enough to not know to read in front of children, you're not smart enough to take over the dreaming. I'm sorry.
It was not a matter of me not knowing. I didn't, or not being smart enough. I didn't know they were there. Little children always underfoot. Anyways,
exactly. They're always there. Why would you assume they're not?
I
Anything
Well,
know.
outside
see,
the protection of the dreaming is a risk.
and Dierna, I'm with you. Like, I'm not that smart, but I really want the people leading me to be smarter. Like, is that a lot to ask?
Yeah. You
Not to mention,
attractiveness can only get so far.
you keep using the
Feeling.
phrase I wish to control the dreaming. Then it's no longer the dreaming. That's
Well,
just
it's
you.
Nesmeralda's dream, and that, to
Mm.
me, if you ask me, sounds even more wonderful.
I'd like to place my hands like firmly on her shoulders, like from behind. I
Mm.
think you should stop while you're ahead.
What would it take for us to convince you that this is just a terrible idea?
Hmm.
It's not true love and people loving you if it's forced.
For the first time, you see her, that the machinations, is that, am I pronouncing that right? The planning, the
Mm-hmm.
scheming, kind of is dropped. And she actually for once seems to be thinking about what you said and not trying to, because this whole time you've kind of felt this pull. You've felt her trying to persuade you. You've even had moments when um you've doubted the things that you've been saying about wanting smart leaders and children. You've said it, you believe it, but you'll say it and then she'll look at you and you'll have a doubt for a moment before you pull yourself together. You can feel that she's trying to entice you, trying to um uh almost hypnotize you,
Mm.
trying to charm you. And so for the first time, that sort of has stopped. You've been able to handle it. She's never been able to persuade you, but you can recognize the power that she might have over someone who wasn't from the dreaming, or even someone who's not quite as accomplished as the three of you. And you can certainly understand how children would just by her mere presence just be drawn in. But when you talk about someone loving her simply because they love her and not because she's got some control over them or because they're under her thumb, she stops. You don't feel that anymore for a moment, and she's just quiet. What do you do in this moment of quiet?
Well, Kavi asks that question as to like, what would it take for you not to? Well, basically, for you to leave the dreaming alone.
I don't want to leave it alone. I want to be a part of it again. I want to have you, and she looks you like right in the eye, um, on like this piercing gaze, and she's like, I don't want to. I don't want to be a part of it. I want to turn back time. Have you ever had that moment in your life where you wish that you could go back and do that day again?
What day?
I mean, there's several, but I think those days, um, we all have turning points in our lives, right? Where we recognize that every moment after it is influenced by that event, that decision. As we're been around for a long time, and it's those moments that happened when I was younger, when I was just a little girl. Those are the moments that I wish that I could take back, that I could do different, because they've changed not just the last few years of my life, but they've changed my whole life. I wish I could do that moment again, that day. And I know why you're here. I can I can sense her on you all. I see her influence. How is she? The illustrated. Can't even say her
She
name.
she's fine. She did seem to miss you
Mm-hmm.
or what you used to be
Yeah.
back in that time.
Trust me, we can recognize longing when we see it.
While she was like talking, like my hands like loosen up on her shoulders just to more be like lightly on her instead of like kind of holding her down. You know, even though you can't go back and fix your mistakes, it doesn't mean they can't be fixed now, or at least on the way to being mended.
Dierna, as your hand is like on her shoulders, and you recognize, or it dawns on you, that the particular shade of blue of her dress was one of the blues that showed up in the illustrated Manticore's tattoos as she was telling the story, when she was of how she knew Mesmerelda. And you can feel Mesmerelda's shoulders sort of the sort of like the bravado, the arrogance, the um intensity that you first saw in her has not drained out of her, but it's less. She's not defeated, but she's softened a lot. And I would very much like to tell her that I'm sorry.
Mm.
That might be enough for me to leave the dreaming alone, at least for a while.
You could sweeten the deal. Not just tell her you're sorry, but show her. I've heard it goes a long way.
Elena looks surprised.
I said I've heard, okay?
Part of that showing could be coming back with us. I know we are always looking for an extra pair of hands, and the mending can always needs to start somewhere.
Oh, and if I may, a way to show good faith could be, well, good faith, and also helping with the tugging of the heartstrings is perhaps offering for her to watch you for a while. As a, just to keep an
She
eye
would
on
watch
you.
me?
She
Keep an
could.
eye
That
on
way,
me.
she can make sure you're trustworthy, and you can be sure she has her eyes on you.
You're so
Now,
devious.
me.
Is it being devious or is it just facilitating love?
Could be both.
I'm voting for that. Both. That's probably a good point.
Don't even try to say otherwise.
Absolutely both.
I'm interested. I'll go back. And I suppose I'll return the wish book.
Oh yeah, we could take that right now.
Fine. She snaps in the book. And the book is this beautiful. It's heavy
Thick.
leather-bound
It's a
leather-bound
thick toe
book.
with 2 C's.
Exactly.
Why stop at 2? How about 3?
Yeah, fair.
The more stees, the more magical it is, you guys.
Yeah, she thick. Mm.
And it has it's beautifully embossed cover, um and it just absolutely it feels jam-packed with magic like no other artifact or item that you've ever experienced. You guys all have your swords, which all have a lot of magic in them, but this is some next level stuff. This is like you've never really experienced before. You've only, especially you, Dierna, you have heard of items like this, items with this much sort of concentrated, distilled, um, dreaming magic in them. Um, and you instantly recognize that this is not an object that needs to be just out and about, and certainly not outside of the the protection of the dreaming or the extensions of the dreaming, like the circus.
It's
Um,
currently in the wrong hands.
Oh yeah, well, she did offer it to us.
Yeah.
yes, she snaps, and this book is there. Um, and she
She's gonna
Yep.
take that.
Mhm.
she picks up a plate of pie and a cup of tea and says, "Shall we?" Um, and heads.
Let's shall.
Um, Elena,
As
Yes.
yes.
you might
Oh,
want
go
to
for it.
Go ahead,
tell
Mhm.
Zoro to turn around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, as this was all happening, Elena was going to like feign crying and then kind of like turn
Aw.
her head and just be like, "Hey, cancel that, don't do this, don't do this. It's fine, it's fine. Just ditch it, and just show up like you wanted to hang out. Okay, good."
Oh my gosh, can you imagine going outside and a cage showing up? Oh, this was just for us. For
Zoro
later.
looking very confused. He's like,
I mean, Kavi would sell it. This was for us for later. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's more than one use for a cage.
I mean,
If anyone can figure out a creative use, it's us.
Mm-hmm.
And so you all make it back to the circus. It's a kind of quiet walk. She's not saying much. You can sense that as you get closer, her she slows down a little. She's not walking as enthusiastically, or she's got a little bit of hesitation, but you can see her like stand up straight, pull her shoulders back as she sees uh the entrance to the Rainbow Scarab Circus. And as you guys get to the entrance, she looks over at you and she's like, "Which tent is hers?"
I'm assuming we know, so
Yeah, yeah.
that one.
Oh, yeah, of course that makes perfect sense. That's very her.
Might I make a suggestion if that's okay?
I would love to hear that. I need kind of all of the encouragement advice that I can get.
Elena, do you have any extra marigolds?
Always. And she just kind of like reaches under like her jacket and pulls out with like 5.
Oh, do you think that I could give those to her?
Of course. And if you want to add your own flair, by all means.
Yes, thank you. And she takes them and she um concentrates for a second, and they're kind of now there's a ribbon wrapped around, and they're perfectly arranged, and she kind of holds them as like this little bouquet, and she says, "Okay, wish me luck." And she ducks into the tent. And that is where our story for today ends. Yay!
Yay!
You have saved the dreaming.
Oh,
No
phew.
violence, only gay.
Only gay.
Uh,
We should have known
oh,
it was all about gay angst.
Yeah.
yes.
Every story needs it.
Always, always. Well, thank you all so very, very much for being here and being thirsty and having swords and everything. I had a ton of fun. Um, how much were we able to raise? Tell me
Okay,
about
so
that.
at the end of this evening, we have raised $319.69. Nice. Hell yeah.
Yay!
Heck, round of
Thank
applause.
you, everybody.
Yes.
A reminder that this was our second out of 3 charity games to raise money for the LGBTQ Freedom Fund. Our next game is going to be next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time with a game of Glitter Hearts, which is going to be super fun.
Yay! Excellent.
So let's all go around, say hey, hi, who we are, where you can find us, before we head off for the night. So I'll go last, so I'll do the closing sign-offs. But anyone else who would like to go first?
Sure, I'll go. Hey, everybody. I have been Puja. You can find me on Twitter at Puja and at Pujabberwocky everywhere else. And I am doing lots of stuff all the time. And the best way to keep up with all of that is either on my Twitter feed itself or the link in my Twitter bio, which has my streaming schedule. So thanks so much for having me here. I was so delighted to be a part of this.
Yay.
I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
I have been Elena, your lovely the Legion. My name is Minnie, and you can find me on Twitter at Stalwart Ursa. I'm not doing a ton of stuff, but I am just starting here as a budding little queer doing all these lovely things. So follow me on Twitter, and you'll find out all the great things that I'll be doing soon.
I'm Zio. I am on Twitter at Atomic Ziomara. The link is in the chat there for my Twitter. I am a RPG player, sometimes DM, but when I stream, it is mostly me being very, very bad at Overwatch. So if I'm ever streaming, feel free to come and hang out. And if watching my streams is not your thing, you can definitely follow me for all of the disaster lesbianness that is all over my Twitter feed. So that's me. Yay.
Yay! And hi, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter at Archmage of Dice. I'm one of the producers here over at Friends Who Roll Dice. Just the quick housekeeping stuff. Every Monday we have our D&D 5e game called The Mind and the Martyr. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have, as I said already, next week's final charity game for the LGBTQ Freedom Fund is the game of Glitter Hearts next Thursday. I think that's the 30th, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We just announced the cast for our most recent actual play that's going to be premiering on July 27th called Once More Into the Void, facilitated by Victor over on Twitter. And my casting call for the game Print Weaver, where you build your characters based off your fingerprints, is closing tomorrow on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's it. So you have about, just under 24 hours to apply. And we are going to go raid Dicey Amazons, who are currently playing Operation Tango. So everyone go please give them some love over there and have a lovely start to your weekend on Friday. And thank you so much for sticking around and donating and just joining us in the gay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.